Are you living in a simulation? The theory goes that an advanced enough society would build a simulation of itself, a grandfather simulation, if you will, to simulate how their civilization evolved, one that they could watch, take notes, record, and see all the moments that made their history. Considering that most people have no influence on what's happening, it would be a huge simulation for not very much. Why would you need to simulate everything? We know what happens because it's happened. So, if nothing is happening inside a country, nothing major that affects the rest of civilization for 10 years, would you really have to simulate those 10 years, every single person, every single animal in it? The theory then says that the people inside the simulation will become so evolved that they will also create their own simulations. And these simulations would eventually create their own, and so on. So the odds of you being inside the original world are very remote. I personally think that the people who believe this need to do something with their lives. Maybe they're not leaving a legacy, or not the legacy they wanted. If they're going to be forgotten like all the rest, well, might as well be no point to it, right? Let's try a test. Take a piece of paper, take a pen, or a pencil, crayon, anything, as long as you're working exclusively in analog. Now, draw a circle. Take a magnifying glass, take a microscope, if you have one, just don't use your phone, since it's digital. Look as close as you can to that circle, to the arc. It's still going to be an arc. Now, if you draw the circle in digital, using software, and you zoom into it, it's not an arc anymore. This is what a circle is according to a computer, to a digital computer. So if you were inside a digital computer, this is what your circle would look like when you put your magnifying glass or microscope to it. Now, I know you can argue that the simulation is designed to make you believe that what you're seeing is an arc, but it can't do that. Because, as I just said, this is what an arc is to a digital computer. It doesn't know what this is. This is just a zoomed out arc. The more you zoom out of a digital rendering, the more quality you lose. There's another test you can do. If you can get your hands onto a stereo system, an analog stereo. If you don't have one, you can look into thrift stores, places like that, you can get them for very cheap. Get something from the 1970s or 1980s. You'll have incredibly good sound to begin with. Now, plug in a turntable, and plug in a CD player. Get the same album on the CD player and on the turntable, play them simultaneously, and switch from one to another, about every 5 seconds. There's a quality of the medium. Obviously a record and a CD are very different, but when you hear it, you'll understand the difference between analog sound and digital sound. Now, the digital computer would not be able to reproduce the analog sound. The digital sound wave, like the arc, is squared, therefore it removes some of the music. So, it's another proof that you are in an analog world. But that doesn't mean you're not inside an analog simulation. Then again, all the resources needed for an analog computer to run a simulation like this. Wow. You're talking millions of times more than for a digital simulation. But perhaps we can look into something else. Near-death experiences. People who've experienced NDEs will say that they were into a different universe. They all have similarities. Time is not the same. Emotions exist, but they're different. Feelings, everything is different. It's not the same as what we have here. And most of the time, they'll tell you that either they knew they had to come back or they were sent back. They were told they had to return. And they come back with a purpose, with something to do, something important. Whatever that means. Another point that's common is that they are not going from this universe to that universe. They are returning to their original universe, to the place they were before they were born. So perhaps that universe is where lies the creators of this universe. Perhaps we're inside a black hole, on the outskirts, knowing that at some point we're going to fall into it. At the other end of the black hole is this universe, and we're able to send people into it, find out what awaits us here. Or perhaps there's something in our original universe that we just can't do over there. Maybe some evolution we need in the other universe that we can't do because of the conditions there. So we put together the resources necessary and created this universe and impregnated it with the code. We're able to send people from that universe to this universe. But why? Maybe it's school, maybe everybody goes through here at some point or another. They experience life here and bring their experiences with them back over there. Maybe it's prison. Maybe that's why they have to come back, because their sentence isn't finished. Maybe there is some great purpose, some great project they are here to work on. Which of course, would mean that only some people in this universe are from the other one. The rest are just extras. You'd think that if it was something like that, the people from the other universe would recognize each other so that they could get together and accomplish their project together. Then again, if this is the case, you realize that to the people from the other universe, things like murder, rape, genocide wouldn't mean very much. It would be like us killing ants. Who cares? Let's hope it's a prison.